Good morning, KASM listeners. This is Kelly Molitor coming to you this week from the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District with this week's conservation report. So as of late, we don't really have any events coming up. I would like to mention, though, that the Soil Management Summit will be taking place this December. That is hosted by the University of Minnesota Extension and formerly known as the Conservation Tillage Conference. As in past years, it will not be in person this year. It'll be totally online. So you can kind of watch for more information on that in the coming weeks and months before that rolls out. I'm sure we'll be talking about it a little bit more on our reports and stuff to keep you guys posted on what's going on. Also, a lot of guys are probably wrapping up silage harvest right now. And, just we've had pretty good fall weather, I'd say, compared to the last couple of years. So maybe this is the year for you to try cover crop. And I would recommend, if you are interested, you could always contact our office. We are still open as far as, helping out with conservation assistance. And also perhaps there might be some financial assistance available depending on where you're at. I will say this, though, don't bite off more than you can chew. Just do however many acres you're comfortable with. And a good first crop to try, especially post-corn, would be cereal rye. It'll be able to get some good growth on it this fall. And then also it overwinters, so it provides, living roots in the soil and helps out the soil microbes and also builds organic matter. And it will come up good in the spring too. And then also, even after harvesting corn grain, combining, cereal rye can also be a good cover crop to try out as well, depending on how the rest of our fall goes. So next up, I also wanted to talk about this past week, actually, the September 20th through the 26th, was National Farm Safety and Health Week. For more than 75 years, this has actually been observed in our nation. Started out with President Roosevelt. He signed the first observance in 1944 in the middle of World War II, noting the importance of American farmers and ranchers to both the war efforts and as important partners in the national and global peace and prosperity. And the theme this year is actually Every Farmer Counts. This theme is to acknowledge, celebrate, and uplift America's farmers and ranchers who have encountered many challenges over the past couple of years, yet continue to work hard to provide the food, fiber, and fuel that we need. And according to the 2017 Census of Agriculture, there are about 3.4 million agricultural producers in America, which is only about 1% of our population. These farmers and ranchers not only provide the essentials that we need, but they do wonderful things for their families and friends, their communities, and beyond. That is why every farmer counts, and now is the time to prioritize their safety and health. Thousands of farmers, family members, and farm workers are injured, and hundreds die in farming accidents every year in the United States. Agriculture is considered the most hazardous industry to work in. A farmer is 800% more likely to die while working than people in other jobs. And the leading cause of death is tractor rollovers. Other health and safety hazards on the farm include grain bins and silos, manure pits, toxic gases, chemicals, and pesticides, livestock handling, skid loaders, and others. Particularly right now, as I mentioned, a lot of guys are out there harvesting their corn. And then it's just going to be, that much more busy, when soybeans and corn grain come off. So it's important to make sure, that your hazard lights are working properly on your equipment, especially in the front and in the back, and that you have slow-moving signs when on public roads so that motorists know to slow down and be cautious, when passing. And I'd also like to mention, too, especially if you're going to be climbing in grain bins and silos, that you take precautions, make sure you let somebody know that you're going to be doing that day, or having an extra person outside of the structure, to make sure that they can make sure that everything's proper, or everything's okay in there with you. Because you just never know when grain might entrap you, or, the silage toxic gases maybe are, weren't ventilated out of the silo properly. There's just been so many accidents that could have been avoided the last few years, within our own community, that, we want to try to avoid those. And also, make sure that if you're a cattle farmer, you know, my grandpa always said, never turn your back on a bull. And I stand by that to this day. You know, you just never know what could happen, especially even if you have some cows that are, you know, a little out there too. Make sure that you don't turn your back on those either, and, you know, stay safe, especially if you're fall calving right now. You know, some of the mothers can be a little overprotective of their calves. Also, if you have children or grandchildren and you're working on the farm, you know, moving equipment around a lot this time of year, make sure you know where your children are at. Kids love to just explore and get into things and climb on everything. So just make sure that they're safe and sound and are not going to be in harm's way. Other than that, though, there's just endless things I could talk about today with farm safety and health, but I think it's important to not just recognize it this week, but every single day. You know, it's just life. You know, living on a farm can be dangerous, and that's the risks that we take every day. So stay safe out there and healthy. That's all I got for this week, and thanks. Have a great weekend.